Hi, everyone. Jennifer here, and welcome to the Jen Knoedl podcast. Yeah, you can call me Jen or Jennifer. Just don't call me late to dinner, as my dad would say. We are on the next chapter. We're going through the book Psycho Cybernetics, and we are on the next chapter talking about imagination. So I'm just going to get right into it. I'm going to start off with a quote from Einstein, which basically says imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. So if the smartest guy thinks that imagination is really important, I think we can give a lot of credence to it, right? Because he's not saying it's a silly thing. He's saying it's important. Another clip here. Dr. Maltz shows how we have goals and we are using our imagination, whether we think we are or not. We either use our imagination constructively or destructively. So that we talked about in another chapter that, even drug addicts, it's just an easy example. Even they have goals, right? It's like, when am I going to get my next fix or, drugs? We act or fail to act, not because of will, as is so commonly believed, but because of imagination. A human being always acts and feels and performs in accordance with what he imagines to be true about himself and his environment. Um, so that is, we've discussed this. It's just reiterating the point that it's very difficult for us to act like someone different than who we see ourselves as. It's essentially saying that it's a foundational issue. We are reminded your nervous system cannot tell the difference between an imagined experience and a real experience. And it makes me think of the times that I do visualization. I probably don't do it as often as I'd like to, because sometimes it does feel silly and like a waste of time, if I'm being honest. But um, when I start visualizing and the little things that I think of, I mean, it really does tickle me. I don't know that it's the same as a real, but I'm really trying to keep an open mind. I mean, this book is a national bestseller for, I mean, it's an old book, so I mean, it's there for a reason. I think there's a lot of wisdom to it, but I that's a is that a tough pill to swallow? That it's an imagined experience is the same. Let's see. You act and feel not according to what things are really like, but according to the image your mind holds of what they are like. You have certain mental images of yourself, your world, and the people around you, and you behave as though these images were the truth, the reality, rather than the things that they represent. And it goes on to talk about what I thought was a really good example of a man is in the woods and a bear jumps out and he's like scared, and freaking out and does whatever you do when you see a bear. I don't know. I feel like I need to read some survival guides just in case that happens. But regardless, he does those things that you do when you see a bear. But what if it was another man in just a really good bear costume? What is that? Trading Places? Is that the movie that I'm thinking of with the bear costume at the end? That was a gorilla. Anyway, I digress. The point is, if it was a really good bear costume, even though it wasn't a bear, the man would still act as if it were a bear. So I thought that was a really good example of how we react according to what we think things are versus what they actually are. I mean, have you ever thought someone said something that they didn't say, or thought they meant something that they didn't mean, and like you just went into a whole tailspin? Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one that's happened to. Okay, so let's move on. He talks about role playing a little bit, and I think I made a note that that was good for dating, sales, sports. And it is simply imagining yourself in various situations, then solving them in your mind until you know what to say and what to do, whatever the situation comes up in real life. So I think that's pretty obvious. I think a lot of us, we know we've heard of role playing, but I don't think a lot of us have done it. I know, I have friends who have those, really important corporate jobs, and yeah, they have to do role playing for those interviews because you gotta be ready for whatever crazy questions they're going to ask you, because apparently that's supposed to be your whole life. But Anyway, it says rehearsal practice will help you to ad lib and react spontaneously to whatever situation you find yourself in because you have practiced reacting spontaneously. I think a cute way to think about this would, yeah, definitely be dating. It's like if I were a guy, I'm old fashioned. I think men should have really approached women, but it's all the, cute things that you might say to a woman. Or I guess if people work together, then you could be clever because, like, you're going to see them. So you could think of, you know, clever things to say to them and then practice responding. Yeah, anyway, I think that's really cute. If you're always like, when I see a cute guy at the grocery store or whatever, I'll say this. I did not think this through. So never mind. But you get the point is that, like, if you're ready for it, what is that? You don't have to get ready if you stay ready. Oh, I think it's been attributed to Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I don't actually know if that's true. Sometimes people just say something once and everyone thinks that's how it is. You must have a clear mental picture of the correct thing before you can do it successfully. So that's interesting because it's like, well, what if I don't know how to do it because I haven't done it before? But I mean, I guess that's again where the imagination comes in. They say your mental picture of yourself is your strongest force within you. And I mean, I could see that to be true, right? I mean, it's like what makes soldiers give up their lives? I mean, it's like what they think about themselves. That one just kind of popped in my head. We talk a little bit about finding your real self. Common knowledge among psychologists is that most of us underrate ourselves, shortchange ourselves, and sell ourselves short. I think more of us do this than realize it because I feel like I kind of think I'm a confident person, but especially in the past couple months that I have really been trying to focus on my mindset and just been aware, I've been doing more meditating. It's like, ooh, there's a lot going on up there that I don't think I was really even aware of because I think sometimes we think it's like some, whisper that we can hear, like, you suck, you're terrible, whatever the voices say. But I think a lot of times they come a lot more subtly than that. At least they do for me. Um, yeah, this kind of talks about God being the ultimate creator, and he's all wise and all powerful, and he doesn't turn out inferior products. I heard someone say God doesn't make junk. So, is it an issue of fearing success? I think that I have some of that as I've done a little digging in my life. I think I just grew up with some ideas about noble ways to make money and not noble ways to make money. And like some of them aren't even really based in anything, just like other people's opinions that I just picked up along the way. So, that's interesting. This says, what brings more glory, pride, and satisfaction to a father than seeing his offspring do well, succeed, and express to their full abilities and talents? I think that once again, we compare ourselves to other people. So when they don't get what we're trying to do or they don't understand our vision, a lot of times we can let their interpretations of life and how is it supposed to be to squash our little spirit. But I mean, it's like at the end of the day, at the end of your life, that person's not even going to be there with you. This is, something that comes up. I mean, a pastor told me many, many years ago, and I just think about it all the time. Like, no one's going to be there with you when you have to give an account for your life. And so there was a Bible verse that says, work out your faith with fear and trembling. And I get it because it's like you're responsible. God's like, what did I tell you to do? What gifts did I give you? Don't be talking about, oh, so and so thought it was weird if I did that or whatever. I'm talking about myself. Here is a clip from a book called Prescription for Anxiety. And it says, it's talking about God. He sees us as already serene, confident, and cheerful. He sees us not as pathetic victims of life, but masters of the art of living, not wanting sympathy, but imparting help to others, and therefore thinking less and less of ourselves, and full, not of self-concern, but of love and laughter and a desire to serve. So I've heard another quote that said, it, the point is not to think less of yourself, like I'm no good or whatever. It's to think less often of yourself. Do you, like, just not even really thinking about yourself at all, just because you're so fulfilled and you're, wanting to spread that love and joy and goodness with other people. So I really like that. Let's see. All right. Well, let's wrap it up with they gave a little practical exercise here at the end, and I thought it was really good to share with you. So, as I've mentioned, I've been working on meditation because all the smart people say to do it, even the ones in the Bible, like it just keeps coming back down to that. I keep wanting to evolve in my life, and it keeps coming down to mindset, keeps coming back to being still, know that I am God, don't worry, don't fear, don't stress, be love yourself, love other people. But, I've just talked before when I said love yourself, I even feel like love yourself has gotten a bad rap, um, because it sounds selfish, but I don't think that we can really love other people until we have love and forgiveness for ourselves. I mean, I know for myself that when I'm not in a good, happy place, it's harder for me to be happy for people. It's harder for me to, um, yeah, just be happy for them. But when I'm in a great place, the world is abundant and the birds are chirping and everything's great. And that's who I want to be. So let me get back to ending you with this practical exercise. And it's talking about being still. And it says, when you begin, it's good to scan your body for tension and begin to consciously relax your head, torso, waist, legs, and so on. And as strange as it may sound, allow yourself to smile into your brain and body, which greatly helps you relax. And as you begin to relax, concentrate on breathing deeply. Follow your inhale and your exhale. Allow positive energy to enter as you exhale the negative. And I tell you what, yeah, I've been doing this and just thinking about that, like inhaling goodness, exhaling, letting go of the stress, letting go of just crap you don't need, and just really letting your mind like do whatever, it needs to do to kind of align things and just help you, hopefully get to a better mental place for this little short amount of time we have left on this rock. You know what I'm saying? So that is all for today's podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I will catch you next time. Tune in because the next chapter I should have had that ready for you already. The next chapter is about dehypnotizing yourself from false beliefs. I know you want to hear about that. So stick around. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.